In the heart of a bustling toy shop, there once lived a little rabbit made of velveteen. He had soft, brown fur and bright, inquisitive eyes that sparkled with life. But despite his velvety exterior, the little rabbit longed for something more. Day after day, the little rabbit sat on the shelf, watching as the other toys were chosen and carried away to their new homes. But no one seemed to notice him, and his heart grew heavy with loneliness. One day, a kind old man came into the shop, his eyes twinkling with delight as he spotted the little rabbit sitting all alone on the shelf. With a gentle smile, he picked up the rabbit and held him close, feeling the warmth of his velveteen fur against his skin. "This is the one," the old man declared, his voice filled with tenderness. And with that, he carried the little rabbit home to his granddaughter, a sweet girl named Emily. From the moment Emily laid eyes on the little rabbit, she knew he was special. She hugged him tightly to her chest, whispering secrets into his velvety ears and tucking him into bed each night with a soft kiss. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the little rabbit felt a change come over him. His velveteen fur grew worn and tattered from Emily's constant love and affection, and his once bright eyes began to dim with age. But with each hug and cuddle, he felt his heart swell with happiness, for he knew that he was becoming real. One cold winter's night, as Emily lay tucked up in bed with the little rabbit by her side, she fell asleep with tears streaming down her cheeks. The little rabbit watched over her with love and tenderness, wishing he could chase away her sadness. And then, something magical happened. As the first light of dawn broke through the darkness, the little rabbit felt a warmth spreading through his worn and weary body. His fur became soft and sleek once more, and his eyes shone with a renewed brightness. With a joyous leap, the little rabbit bounded off the bed and into Emily's arms, his heart brimming with love. For he knew in that moment that he had become truly real, a testament to the power of love and the magic of believing. From that day forward, the little rabbit and Emily were inseparable. They played together in the sunshine and danced together in the moonlight, their bond stronger than ever before. And though the little rabbit may have started out as just a toy made of velveteen, he had become so much more than that. He was Emily's dearest friend, her constant companion, and the truest testament to the enduring power of love. In a secluded cottage at the edge of a deep, dark forest, there lived a kind woodsman and his wife. They were blessed with 7 sons, each as strong and wild as the forest itself. But despite their happiness, tragedy struck when the youngest son fell gravely ill. Desperate to save their beloved child, the woodsman and his wife sought the help of a wise old crone who lived deep within the heart of the forest. With her guidance, they brewed potions and cast spells, but alas, nothing could cure the boy's ailment. In their despair, the woodsman and his wife turned to the ancient magic of the forest for aid. They beseeched the spirits of the trees and the creatures of the night, offering anything in exchange for their son's health. Moved by their love and devotion, the forest spirits granted their wish, but with a heavy price. Their 7 sons were transformed into ravens, their cries echoing through the forest like mournful songs in the night. Heartbroken by the loss of their children, the woodsman and his wife vowed to do whatever it took to break the curse and restore their sons to their human forms. And so, they set out on a journey through the forest, guided by the wisdom of the crone and the magic of the ancient woods. For 7 long years, they searched far and wide, facing trials and tribulations beyond imagination. They braved storms and battled beasts, their determination unwavering in the face of adversity. And then, on the 7th anniversary of their son's transformation, they stumbled upon a hidden glade bathed in the soft light of the moon. And there, beneath the branches of a towering oak tree, they found their sons, their feathers as black as the midnight sky. With tears of joy streaming down their faces, the woodsman and his wife embraced their sons, their love and longing finally reunited after years of separation. And as they held each other close, a brilliant light filled the glade, dispelling the darkness and bringing hope and happiness to all who dwelled within the forest. From that day forth, the woodsman, and his family lived in peace and harmony, their bond stronger than ever before. And though the memory of their time as ravens would forever linger in their hearts, they knew that as long as they had each other, they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, there lived 3 little pigs named Percy, Penelope, and Patrick. Each pig was known for their own unique talents and personalities, but they shared a bond of sibling love that was stronger than any brick or straw. As they grew older, the 3 little pigs decided it was time to build their own homes and set out into the world. Percy, the eldest and most practical of the siblings, decided to build his house out of sturdy bricks, knowing that it would withstand any storm or threat. Penelope, the middle pig with a love for beauty and creativity, chose to fashion her home from colorful sticks and twigs, weaving them together into a cozy abode. And Patrick, the youngest and most carefree of the trio, opted for a house made of straw, eager to enjoy the simplicity and ease of his chosen material. As the seasons changed and the winds of autumn began to blow, a cunning wolf with eyes as sharp as daggers and a hunger that could not be sated roamed the countryside, seeking his next meal. When he stumbled upon Percy's brick house, he huffed and he puffed with all his might, but the sturdy walls held firm, and the wolf was forced to retreat in defeat. Undeterred, the wolf turned his attention to Penelope's stick house, hoping that its fragile construction would be no match for his strength. With a mighty blow, he blew down the walls of Penelope's house, leaving her trembling with fear as she fled to seek refuge in Percy's sturdy abode. Finally, the wolf came upon Patrick's straw house, its flimsy walls offering little resistance to his powerful breath. With a single puff, he blew down the house, leaving Patrick scrambling to safety as the wolf's sharp teeth snapped at his heels. As the wolf pursued Patrick through the forest, Percy and Penelope sprang into action, racing to their brother's aid. Together, they led the wolf on a merry chase through the trees and over the hills, their laughter ringing through the air like the chiming of bells. And just when it seemed that all hope was lost, they reached the safety of Percy's brick house, where the wolf's cunning was no match for the strength of their bond. With a final leap, the wolf lunged at the pigs, only to find himself trapped in a cleverly laid trap, his hunger thwarted by the bravery and ingenuity of the 3 little pigs. With the wolf safely captured and the village saved from harm, Percy, Penelope, and Patrick celebrated their victory with a feast fit for kings. And as they sat together by the hearth, their hearts filled with warmth and joy, they knew that no matter what trials or tribulations may come their way, they would always stand strong together, united in love and friendship forevermore. In a peaceful forest where sunlight danced through the emerald leaves and birdsong filled the air, there dwelled a diligent tortoise named Terence and a boastful hare named Harold. Harold, with his swift legs and arrogant demeanor, often mocked Terence for his slow and steady pace. "Why bother racing, old friend?" he would jeer. "You'll never beat me with your sluggish ways." But Terence remained unfazed, his shell a symbol of resilience and determination. "We shall see, Harold," he would reply with a patient smile. One sunny morning, the forest animals gathered to watch as Harold and Terence prepared for a race, each confident in their abilities. At the sound of the starting whistle, Harold dashed ahead with a burst of speed, leaving Terence far behind in a cloud of dust. Confident of his victory, Harold paused to taunt Terence, boasting of his imminent triumph. But while Harold reveled in his own glory, Terence pressed on with unwavering resolve. Slow and steady, he plodded along the winding path, never wavering from his course. As the race neared its end, Harold, tired from his reckless sprint, spotted Terence approaching the finish line. With a surge of panic, he dashed forward, but it was too late. With a determined stride, Terence crossed the finish line first, his steady pace triumphing over Harold's haste. The forest erupted into cheers as Terence, the humble tortoise, was hailed as the victor. And though Harold had learned a valuable lesson in humility, it was Terence who emerged as the true hero of the race, proving that perseverance and determination were the greatest virtues of all. From that day forth, the animals of the forest celebrated the tale of the tortoise and the hare, a timeless reminder that slow and steady wins the race. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush meadows, there lived a kindly woodcarver named Ivan. Ivan was known throughout the land for his skillful hands and gentle heart, crafting beautiful toys that brought joy to children far and wide. One winter's eve, as Ivan worked by the warmth of his fireplace, he carved a wooden horse unlike any he had ever made before. With each stroke of his chisel, he poured his love and care into the creation, fashioning it with a mane of golden thread and eyes that sparkled like stars in the night sky. As dawn broke and the first light of morning spilled through the window, Ivan stepped back to admire his handiwork. And to his astonishment, the wooden horse began to stir, its joints creaking as it came to life before his very eyes. With a whinny of delight, the wooden horse leapt from the workbench and pranced around the room, its hooves clattering against the wooden floor. Ivan could scarcely believe his eyes as he watched the miraculous transformation unfold before him. Filled with wonder and excitement, Ivan knew that he had created something truly special. And so, with a smile upon his lips, he set out to share the joy of his creation with the children of the village. But as he journeyed through the snow-covered streets, he encountered a group of weary travelers huddled by the roadside, their faces drawn with exhaustion and despair. Moved by compassion, Ivan offered them shelter and warmth, inviting them to rest by his hearth until they were ready to continue their journey. As the travelers warmed themselves by the fire, Ivan's wooden horse stood guard by the door, its eyes shining with a sense of purpose. And as the hours passed and the travelers' spirits began to lift, they shared tales of their adventures and the hardships they had faced along the way. Deeply moved by their stories, Ivan knew that he could not turn them away. And so, with a heavy heart, he bid farewell to his beloved wooden horse, knowing that it would bring joy and comfort to the travelers on their long and arduous journey. As the travelers departed, their hearts filled with gratitude, Ivan watched them disappear into the distance, knowing that he had made the right choice. And though he may never see his wooden horse again, he took comfort in the knowledge that it was out in the world, spreading love and kindness wherever it went. And so, as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Ivan continued to carve his beautiful toys, each one infused with the spirit of the little wooden horse that had brought so much joy and wonder into his life. And though he may never fully understand the magic that had brought it to life, he knew that its legacy would live on in the hearts of all who knew its story, a testament to the power of love and compassion in a world filled with wonder and possibility. Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled deep within a snow-covered forest, lived a young girl named Clara. Clara adored the magic of winter, especially the enchanting tale her grandmother told her every year on Christmas Eve, the story of the Nutcracker. According to her grandmother's tale, there was once a toymaker named Herr Drosselmeyer who crafted the most exquisite toys. Among his creations was a wooden nutcracker in the likeness of a soldier. Legend had it that this nutcracker was under a powerful curse, waiting for a brave soul to break it. On a particularly snowy Christmas Eve, Clara's family hosted a grand celebration. Among the guests was Herr Drosselmeyer, bearing his wondrous toys as gifts. As Clara admired the nutcracker, she felt a strange connection to it, as if it held secrets just waiting to be uncovered. Later that night, as the clock struck midnight, Clara crept downstairs to check on her beloved nutcracker. To her astonishment, the room was bathed in a mystical glow, and the toys had come to life. Led by the nutcracker, they engaged in an epic battle against the Rat King and his army of mice. With Clara's help, the nutcracker emerged victorious, but not without consequence. In the chaos of battle, Clara was whisked away to a magical realm, where she found herself in the midst of a grand adventure. The Nutcracker revealed himself to be a prince under the curse of an evil sorcerer. Only by overcoming trials and proving his bravery could he reclaim his true form. Together, Clara and the Nutcracker journeyed through dazzling landscapes, encountering strange creatures and overcoming perilous obstacles. Along the way, Clara learned valuable lessons about courage, friendship, and the power of believing in oneself. As their bond grew stronger, so did their resolve to break the curse and restore peace to the realm. In the climactic final showdown, Clara and the Nutcracker confronted the wicked sorcerer in his enchanted castle. With unwavering determination and the magic of the holiday season guiding them, they vanquished the sorcerer and shattered the curse once and for all. As the curse lifted, the Nutcracker transformed back into his princely form, and Clara found herself back in her own home. But this time, she carried with her memories of a fantastical journey that would stay with her forever. From that day on, Clara cherished her Nutcracker even more, knowing that behind its wooden exterior lay the heart of a courageous prince. And as she drifted off to sleep on Christmas night, she whispered a heartfelt wish for magic to always find its way into the hearts of those who believe. In a kingdom where the whispers of magic danced on the wind and the forests were alive with secrets, there reigned a wise and just king. His 3 sons, each as different as the seasons, were destined to inherit the throne one day. One crisp autumn morning, the king summoned his sons to his court and presented them with a challenge that would determine the future ruler of the kingdom. He placed 3 feathers before them, each one as delicate as a whisper and as bright as the dawn. "The one who brings me the most precious gift shall inherit my crown," declared the king, his voice echoing through the grand hall. Filled with determination, the eldest son, Eric, set out on a journey to find the rarest treasures of the land. He traveled far and wide, seeking out jewels and riches beyond compare, his heart set on winning the favor of his father. The second son, Matthias, chose a different path, venturing into the depths of the forest in search of wisdom and knowledge. He studied with the wise creatures that dwelled within the shadows, learning the secrets of the earth and the stars. But it was the youngest son, Peter, whose journey led him down the most unexpected of paths. With a heart full of curiosity and a spirit unbound by convention, he wandered through the kingdom, guided by the whispers of the wind and the laughter of the rivers. Along the way, Peter encountered those in need of the poor, the sick, and the forgotten. With kindness and compassion, he offered them his aid, sharing what little he had and bringing light to even the darkest corners of the kingdom. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the 3 brothers returned to their father's court, each one bearing a gift more precious than gold. Eric presented the king with a chest overflowing with jewels and riches, his eyes shining with pride. Matthias offered a tome filled with the wisdom of ages, its pages filled with the secrets of the universe. But it was Peter, with nothing but a heart full of kindness and a soul filled with love, who truly captured the king's attention. He presented his father with a simple feather, its surface as soft as silk and as pure as the morning dew. "I may not have found the rarest treasures or the deepest wisdom," Peter said, his voice steady and sure, "but I have learned that the greatest gift of all is the love we share with one another." Moved by his youngest son's words, the king embraced Peter, his heart overflowing with pride and joy. And as he placed the feather upon his throne, he knew that the kingdom would be in good hands with a ruler whose heart was as pure as the feathers that had brought them together. And so, with love and compassion as their guide, the king and his sons ruled the kingdom together, their bond stronger than ever before. And though they may have faced challenges along the way, they knew that as long as they stood united, there was nothing they could not overcome. In a kingdom where the whispering winds carried tales of enchantment and wonder, there lay a hidden grove where a magical fountain flowed. Its waters shimmered like liquid silver, and those who drank from it were said to be granted their deepest desires. One day, a young maiden named Lyra ventured into the forest, her heart heavy with sorrow. Her village was plagued by famine, and her family struggled to survive each passing day. Desperate to find a solution, Lyra sought out the legendary magic fountain, hoping it held the key to their salvation. As she approached the glimmering waters, Lyra whispered a prayer for her family's well-being. To her astonishment, the fountain began to glow with a soft, ethereal light, and a voice echoed from its depths, promising to grant her wish. With trembling hands, Lyra cupped her palms and drank from the fountain, feeling its cool waters soothe her troubled soul. Determined to make her vision a reality, Lyra returned to her village with renewed hope and determination. With the knowledge she had gained from the magic fountain, she taught the villagers how to cultivate the land and harness its bounty. Slowly but surely, the village began to flourish once more, its fields yielding abundant harvests and its people thriving in the embrace of nature's abundance. And as the years passed, Lyra's family grew strong and prosperous, their hearts filled with gratitude for the magic fountain that had granted their deepest desires. But Lyra knew that the true magic lay not in the fountain itself, but in the power of hope, perseverance, and the bonds of love that united them all. And though the fountain's waters eventually ceased to flow, its legacy lived on in the hearts of all who had been touched by its enchantment. In the heart of a dense forest, there stood a small, frail tree, barely taller than a sapling. While all the other trees around it boasted of their height and grandeur, this little tree felt insignificant and overlooked. Every year, as winter approached and the snow began to fall, the other trees would be chosen by families to adorn their homes for the Christmas season. But year after year, the littlest tree was left behind, deemed too small and unremarkable to be of any use. As the years passed, the little tree watched sadly as its companions were adorned with twinkling lights and shiny ornaments, their branches filled with laughter and joy. But despite its longing to be a part of the festivities, the little tree remained alone in the forest, its branches bare and its spirit waning. One cold winter's eve, as the stars sparkled overhead and the snowflakes danced in the moonlight, a gentle voice broke through the silence of the forest. "Why do you weep, little tree?" asked a kind-hearted owl perched upon a nearby branch. The little tree sighed and shook its branches sadly. "I am too small and insignificant to ever be chosen for Christmas. Year after year, I watch as the other trees are taken away, leaving me behind to wither and fade." The owl hooted softly and ruffled its feathers in sympathy. "Do not despair, little one," it said. "For true beauty lies not in size or grandeur, but in the warmth of the heart." With those words of wisdom echoing in its branches, the little tree made a decision. It would no longer measure its worth by the standards of others, but instead, it would embrace its own unique beauty and share its light with the world. And so, with newfound determination, the little tree began to decorate itself with whatever it could find: pine cones, berries, and even a few stray ribbons that had been left behind by passing travelers. As dawn broke and the first light of Christmas morning illuminated the forest, the little tree shimmered with newfound radiance, its branches aglow with the spirit of the season. And to the astonishment of all who beheld it, families from near and far flocked to the forest, drawn by the little tree's beauty and warmth. They gathered around its humble branches, singing carols and sharing stories, their hearts filled with the true magic of Christmas. From that day forth, the little tree was no longer the forgotten one of the forest, but instead, it became a beacon of hope and joy for all who crossed its path. And though it may have been the littlest Christmas tree in the forest, its light shone the brightest of them all, illuminating the true meaning of the season for generations to come. In a distant kingdom where the hills rolled like waves and the forests whispered ancient secrets, there lived two brothers, Otto and Wilhelm. Otto, the elder brother, was known for his strength and courage, while Wilhelm was known for his gentle nature and love of music. One day, while wandering through the forest, Wilhelm stumbled upon a bone lying in the underbrush, its surface gleaming white in the sunlight. Intrigued, He picked it up and blew gently across its surface, producing a haunting melody that echoed through the trees. Enchanted by the bone's song, Wilhelm carried it home with him, where he showed it to his brother Otto. But instead of sharing in Wilhelm's wonder, Otto's eyes filled with envy and greed. Determined to claim the bone for himself, Otto devised a plan to rid himself of his brother once and for all. Under the guise of a friendly hunt, he lured Wilhelm deep into the forest, where he struck him down with a blow to the head and buried his body beneath the leaves and branches. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but Wilhelm's absence was felt keenly by all who knew him. And though Otto feigned sorrow and grief, his heart was filled with guilt and fear, for he knew that he could never escape the truth of what he had done. But then, one evening, as Otto sat alone in his chambers, he heard a haunting melody drifting through the window, carried on the breeze like a whispered promise. And as he listened, his blood ran cold, for he recognized the tune as the same melody that had once emanated from the bone his brother had found. Filled with dread, Otto followed the sound of the music deep into the forest, where he came upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. And there, lying amidst the leaves and moss, was the bone that had once belonged to Wilhelm, its surface gleaming in the darkness. Trembling with fear, Otto reached out to touch the bone, but as his fingers brushed against its surface, a voice echoed through the night, the voice of Wilhelm, speaking from beyond the grave. In a voice as cold as ice and as sharp as steel, Wilhelm accused his brother of his murder and revealed the truth of what had happened on that fateful day in the forest. And as Otto listened in horror, he knew that he could never escape the consequences of his actions. From that day forth, the singing bone became a symbol of justice and retribution in the kingdom, its haunting melody a reminder of the power of truth and the folly of envy. And though Otto may have thought he could silence his brother's voice, he could never silence the song that echoed in his heart for all eternity.